Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Dario and I've been making tutorials on Logseq and having a little bit of fun doing it. Recently the fun sort of dropped down because I was very intense working on structured projects. So I've decided to go back to a little bit more of an informal, unstructured approach just because it's a little bit more fun and reduces the pressure of putting a video out there and everything having to be perfect. And I'm going to try and minimize editing and just make it a natural conversation, because I think that's more fun and that's more my style. So if that's not your style, I'm really sorry. But yeah, in this video, what I want to look at is space repetition in Logseq, because space repetition can be very useful for learning anything really. But I think the major applications that I've used it for are language learning and bird calls, which I'll get into now. And Logseq enables you to make flashcards incredibly easily. If you've ever used Anki or whatever how it's pronounced, you'll know that it can be quite a mission to create flashcards, and that is a very frictionful process, and it stopped me from investing more time in it. So you'll be pleased to know that Logseq has very recently released functionality that even allows you to add audio to your flashcards, and it is super simple to set up. So I'm going to run through an example, or a couple of examples really. So this is more of a working session because I've got a whole bunch of things that I've wanted to turn into flashcards for a while now, and I just haven't found the time to do it. So I'm going to do it now live, and I'm just going to do a little bit of problem solving as well. So it's not only going to be in Logseq. We're going to look at VS Code. Sorry, we're not going to look at VS Code. We're going to look at Notepad++, and we're going to look at Excel and how you can use Excel to edit your text so that it gets very easily put into Logseq. And I'm going to show you behind the scenes, a little bit of the folders, all the things that are going on, because it really is just text files and it works incredibly well. So let's have a look at how we can do this. So I've now navigated into Logseq to show you how it's done, but I also want to add a little bit of caveats here. I'm not talking about space repetition and how valuable it is, or I'm not talking about why you should use it or why you shouldn't use it. And yeah, it's really just the mechanics of how you do it in Logseq, because I don't know all the science about space repetition and why it's good or why it's not good. So there's a lot of other videos that deal with that. This is really just the practical side of it. So yeah, let's have a look. So let me zoom in a little bit more here because it looks a little bit small. And the format of adding any flashcard in Logseq is very simple. Using the outliners, your first bullet or your first block is your, there we go, that's working. Your first block there is the question, and that's the front of the card. And then you add the tag card here at the end, and then it gives you this nice little interface or this nice shadow around the card, and then you just enter and indent underneath that to make it the back of the card or the answer. So if you're new to Logseq, there's a lot of videos that look into this, but let's quickly just have a look here. So there's question, and let's say card. There we go. And then I enter, but now if I tab, so I indent underneath there, it gives me the option to enter the answer. So now if I go to my flashcards, well, let me take a step back there. The way that you access your flashcards, or at least the first way to access your flashcards, is using this menu over here. On the side, my blue highlighter button is not working. There we go. So it's that menu over there, your flashcards. But you'll see that there's a rather alarming number, 112 cards. And that can be a little bit off-putting, but let's go there anyways. Okay, it's taking some time. Wakey. There we go. Okay, so it's showing me that I've entered a flashcard question, and now I can use the buttons here at the bottom, so I can either click that, or I could use the shortcut S. So I'm going to say S to show me the answer, and then I say, I either forgot it took me a while to recall, or I remembered it. So again, you can use the shortcuts over here. I'd recommend using the shortcuts, particularly if you're navigating through a lot of cards. It's just much easier than clicking around. So the remembered here is just behind my face, but if I say R, then cuts to the next question. So this is the next question, and this is the question in front of the card. So I say yes, show the answers. This is the back of the card. I forgot this one. Okay, so this is now going to new cards over here. It seems like it's a little bit slow, but it's okay. Practically what Logseq is doing is actually editing the text file where those cards are saved to update the parameters. To give just a quick introduction of space repetition, it's all about showing you the card when it's at a point that you might forget it, and then strengthening that neural pathway. So what you're doing by choosing these different answers at the bottom here, so it's either forgotten, took a while to remember, or remembered easily, or remembered, it adds different scoring to that card, so it shows that card to you at a different stage on your forgetting curve, so that's easier to remember. But now, as I said, like this number here, let's see, it's 113 cards, and it can be a little bit intimidating. And if you push shuffle here, you're going to get random, there we go, it's taking me to my Portuguese verbs. So this isn't the best way to access your cards. And this is part of the reason why I didn't use the spaced repetition functionality in the beginning. But then I discovered that you can actually create your own dashboard of learning. So you'll see here I've got this page here, spaced repetition practice. And what I've got here is I've entered some things that I've made flashcards for. So I've got my bird calls, I've got my Portuguese verbs, and I've got my bird pictures. So my parents are Portuguese, but I don't speak Portuguese fluently, so it's always something which I'm just wanting to practice, and we'll look at that a little bit later. But then bird calls, if you go to the bush and you know your bird calls, it really changes the game because you can figure out where those bird calls are. But if you don't do it often, you lose it. So I'm going to the bush in a month and I'm like, oh, I haven't been in a year. So it's just a good way to practice it. Now I've only got 6 birds in this example, but let's look at how I would set this up. So if I go to my bird calls, I'm just going to say shift click to open that in the right sidebar here. And you can see that I've got an audio file and then what the bird is over there. Now, there's a very cool trick which I'm going to show you how to do, which looks at, if I change the file name, oopsie, if I just click in on that block over there, that's all text. So this is how Logseq is rendering this text file or this audio file over here. It's just saying, go look in your Logseq assets file for the file africanfisheagle.mp3 and then play that. So if I go to my Logseq assets file, let's have a quick look over there. Here is my assets file, and these are all my files over here. Now you can see here that I've got, whoopsie, can you see? Yes. I've got African Fish Eagle, the picture, and African Fish Eagle, the MP3. And that's all just stored in my assets folder in Logseq. So it's reading it in the program very easily. And that's a nice little hack which we'll look at later, which makes it super easy to create cards. So I know that whenever I go to the folder, it's a little bit smaller text, so apologies for that. But anyways, let's go back here to spaced repetition. And these are all the 6 birds that I've put into my database. Now, how do I actually access the spaced repetition part of this? So there's a very cool feature. And what I've done here, you don't have to actually create an indentation or the link to the page over here to then be able to see it. You could literally just do this thing right here, which is, and I need to zoom in because it's zoomed out here, which is this card embeds functionality. So it's saying, if I go here, let me go to the bottom and add a new block. If I say /cards, and then I say what page it is that I'm looking to add the cards for, so I can even do bird calls down here, bird calls again. It's then going to give me this nice, if I say enter, it's going to give me this nice interface where I can review cards. So let me just see here, I'm going to put my headphones on. So I'm pushing S. Oopsie, no, I'm supposed to push play there. Okay, let me just say, I would have remembered that one. Okay, so you do have to push play. The shortcut there doesn't work, unfortunately. That is a green woodoo. There we go. Okay, and then R. Great, so that's just pointing to the file and then playing it. The reason I had to do that because the setup doesn't have my mic and my audio do the same thing. So yeah, anyways. Now, just a little bit of a quirk here. If I were to upload an audio file, so if I go here, let me actually just go to that file again. So I'm going to upload an assets, and I'm going to choose that same file again, just for purposes of illustration, or some file. So if I upload an audio file, I've just done this on the other screen here, you can see here that the way it does it is it gives you this link over here. And if I click on this link, it's not going to open it in Logseq. It's going to open it in another program. There we go, Groove Music or whatever the normal Windows program is. And there's a fish eagle. I apologize if that sound is too loud, but yeah. So what you want to do there is literally just go to the front of the text and then add an exclamation mark. And then Logseq will open it in Logseq as a file. So that's how it's done. Now that's an important feature which we're going to look at just now. So that's how you add MP3s. You can either upload an asset, say / upload an asset, but again, there's way easier ways of doing this. So you can see here in my normal fish eagle there, or in my other ones which I haven't edited just now, there's no text over there. It's literally just saying point to where the file is located and load that. Now, as I said, you can do audio, but you can also do pictures. So you can have flashcards and pictures. So if I review these cards now, so review cards, I go into that deck, and then I say, what's that, a fish eagle? Yeah, easily remembered. This is the wood hoopoe. Yep. Etc. etc. Honey guide, very cool bird. They really do lead you to honey. It's happened before. Okay, so now that's a little bit of the introduction. Now, how is it so easy to add these things into Logseq? And I've got some examples from years ago which I've never made flashcards of, so let's quickly go and look how we would do it. Now, this is where I'd say we're going to look at different ways of doing things. So the first example is here. I did this long traveling trip and I had some time, so I wanted to be able to speak to my grandparents a bit better because I went to go visit them, and my mom kindly did these translations for me. And it's just sitting in a Google Doc over here, and I never ever look at it. And yeah, it's not, it's not really a good way to practice when I can see both the answer here and, the question and the answer. The whole idea about recall is it's supposed to be a challenge or learning via this method, what little I know. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this text to Notepad++, which will be like the intermediary before I get into Logseq, and then I'm also going to have to take it to Excel because there's a little bit of a hack here to add that card functionality. So let's get into it, and let's just say Control A and then copy that, Control C, and then let's go to Notepad++. So Notepad++, free program you can download, and then I'm just going to paste that over here. Okay, and it looks like the text is fairly decently sized. But now I've got these blank lines that I want to remove in order to just be able to dump it in Logseq. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say edit, and then blank operations or line operations, and then remove empty lines. Okay, there we go. So these are now all my statements, and so it's a question and answer, and that's important. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and let's quickly add some. When we're going to bring it into Logseq, it's going to need to have, each of these is going to need to be a separate block. So now we want to do a little bit of a funny thing. We can do it in Notepad++, but we can also use Excel. Excel is a fantastic text editor if you know a couple of operations. So I'm just going to say Control A here. And I could have removed the blank lines in Excel as well. There's like many ways to do these things. But anyway, so I'm going to go to space repetition here, and I'm going to paste my sentences. Now, I want to be able to add the hashtag card to every first line, or 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And again, there's like a few ways I can do that. So I just entered a new column over there, just using shortcuts, 1, 2, 1, 2. And if I just copy this there, and then I drag this down. Oh, no, it's not doing what I want. I can just say equals that, and just drag that down then. So that's just a formula. I'm not going to get into all these things. Great. So that is my 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 syntax. And I'm not going to get into Excel formulas, just so that you know that you can do this sort of thing. And I'm just entering a line over there, and this is number, whatever, and that is sentence. It's actually not important, so I don't need that. Okay. Then that was just me entering the columns. I'm actually going to stop explaining the shortcuts. And now what I want to do here is say equals, or let me just What's the best way to do this? I can say equals if that number there equals 1, then hashtag card. Otherwise, empty. Okay. So there we go. So it's now adding card to every first sentence. And then I can say equals. And again, I'm just going to use text here. So there, and that sentence over there. Oopsie. And then I'm actually going to say this one here, but I'm going to go and do something funny now because it's not right. Okay, there we go. And there we go. So what I wanted to do is just add a space over there and then drag that formula down. Okay. What do I need to do? I need to make sure that if the second one, I need to be able to indent it one block across. So that's going to be not just dash, not just dash I went, it's space dash I went, or the Portuguese version. It also be, so this one is actually wrong. I need to do that. So it's only, there we go. It's just hyphen space I went up the mountain. And this one is going to be, I should actually make this a formula. It says if that equals 1, then space, nope, doing it again. And then if not, it must be space dash and then the statements, so that I'm adding that indentation. And B2. Okay, let's see if this works. Oh, I added it in the wrong place. If A3 equals that, then I must add the actual statement there. No. Oh no, it is, it's right. Okay, I'll just drag it down now. Okay, so I'm just going to copy. I should be able to drag it down, but anyways. There we go. Okay, great. So now I've got all my text here that I can now copy into Notepad++ or Logseq. I think it's probably safest just to go via Notepad++ first. So if I copy that, go back to Notepad++, paste that. I could actually save this as a markdown file and then import that into Logseq. But yeah, I can also just create a new page in Logseq. So there's many ways of doing these things. So I'm just going to copy this paste. For the next example, I'll actually do that one. So I'm going to control copy that. I'm going to go to Logseq now. And I'm going to say create a new page. So control K, create new page, Portuguese sentences. Okay, here we go. And literally just going to paste that. And there we go. There are all my flashcards. So now I can go to my spaced repetition practice. And then I can say here, Portuguese sentences. I'm just doing this. I don't need to do it in a link over there at all. It's just an outline heading that allows me to just collapse those things. That's the benefit of outliners as well. Like you can have everything in one page just collapsed in your outlines. So let me just do that so that's not confusing. And see, I just clicked out there, and let me scroll down here. And now what I want to do is I want to say embed cards, or I use the cards function. So / cards, and then Portuguese sentences. Okay, there we go. So I can now review cards. We had to stay another week, and there we go. That's the Portuguese sentence. And I would have forgotten that. And I usually get up late. Eu geralmente acordar. No, yeah. Anyways, forgotten again. Definitely need to start practicing this a little bit better. Okay, so that's the one application, bringing in text. Now I want to look at the other application, and I'm actually learning another language now, which is Xhosa. I said that wrong because it's an African language with the clicks. That one I've done something slightly different. I've gone and bought an audio CD, and I'm now chopping fragments from the audio and making flashcards out of that. So in the same way that I have, like, I have to bring in 100 birds, I'm going to have to bring in hundreds of phrases. And to do that manually would be an absolute nightmare. So I'm just going to go quickly. There, this is my assets page. This is the wrong page. Where do I want to be? Okay, let's see. Okay, so there's my cosa, and then it's just gone down over here. Okay, and I've already gone and done 15 of these like little snippets, but I don't need to type everything out more than once. Like if I've got the phrase typed there, I'm good to go. And I don't want to see the translation in Cosa. I want to just see I want to be able to hear the word. So the prompt is actually going to be the English phrase, and then the answer in this case is going to be the Cosa phrase. I'm going to stop trying to do that properly anyways. So how do I get this now into text? Now, for those people who are familiar with computer programming, they'll be like, oh, it's a breeze, you just do this. But you can use a tool, PowerShell, which is available, I think, on almost all Windows computers. I think it's actually just a standard feature. So I'm going to open PowerShell. And there's a command that you can use, which I'm not going to get into. This thing's all on Google. You can find that. But the idea is that you want to be able to generate a directory or a list of files in that directory. So what I'm going to do is say, yeah, there's my file path. So it's just saying get the child items, or get all the children in this path. So I've done bird calls. I want to get Cosa. Okay, there we go. So I've now got those file names. And again, I'm going to go to my trusty friend, Microsoft Excel. So I just copied that, Control C, and then I go to Excel, and oopsie, that's a bit small. Let's make it a bit bigger. That's cool. Okay, and paste. So those are my 13 or 15 phrases, and I now want to get only the text part. So you can use the functionality which is text to columns. The shortcut is Alt-AE, and then I want to say fixed width because I'm going to click on that thing there to create a break. So let me just click over there to create that break, and boom. So I can just delete these columns, and I'm now going to, what am I going to do? Okay, this is now going to be interesting because I'm actually going to need, I've got the text once, but I'm going to need to have it twice because the one time is going to be pointing to the file, and the other time it's going to be the English prompt. So let's do that here. So I'm just copying that and pasting it there, and then I'm gonna how am I gonna do this? I'm gonna sort it. I'm just gonna create this column. Actually, I don't need to do that. I'm just gonna sort that A to Z. Okay, there we go. So what that's just doing is it's saying it's putting the two matching texts together. So I just created text number 1, text number 2 in the same way that I did previously. Now, what is going to be required here? Well, first I'm going to need the English prompt, and then I'm going to need the Cosa phrase. Okay, so I'm going to then, I'll do the same. Let me just go get this over here, this formula. There we go. And I'm going to do the same 1, 2 things. I'm going to add a column over here. I'm going to say 1, 2, and then equals that, and then click that down. And I'm just going to change that formula there to be, let me go copy it again so that it doesn't copy and paste. So I know I might be going quickly here, but this is not really the key thing. And then A1, is that right? Okay, I'll have to change some things, but yeah, equals, if that is that, then then what I want to do is remove that A1 there. I want it to be the phrase, but without the MP3. So then I'm going to say, there's a couple of ways of doing this, but I'm just going to say left, and then the text and the number of characters. I'm going to use another formula, which is find. Sorry, again, like, I'm just showing you that you can do these things in other ways. And the text that I want to find over there is the period, and it's within there. Okay, number of characters, and there we go. Okay, so I need to just say -1 because it's now finding the period. It's saying that's where the period is. It's giving that number back, and it's saying only have the parts of the phrase up until there. So then this is the number here, -1. Okay, that's great. And I want it to say value of false. Oh, no, that's fine. I can leave that there. So it must be that and left, and then some text, which is going to be #card. And then there. Okay, there we go. So I've got that. Now this one's going to be slightly different. So what's it pulling back? It's pulling back that already. Now what I want to go do is go and just dump all those MP3s into my Logseq assets folder. And let's see, Control A, Control C, and then go to my assets and Control V. Is this the right folder? Yes, it's my first database assets. Make sure it keeps recording this time. Okay, now I want to go back to my text file, which I'm editing in Excel, and look at what I want to pull through. So if it's 1, I've got the thing there already. I've got the English prompt, which is go well guys, #card. But if it's not 1, I need to change it up a bit here. So if it's not 1, i.e. it's 2, I need to say, okay, cool. Add the space so that it's indenting underneath the one above it, and then dash, and then I need to go and look how Logseq is pulling in files from, or MP3 files from my database, or from our folder. So if I go back to Logseq, let's see, here we go. I've got this. So it's exclamation mark, square brackets. Whatever's in that square brackets doesn't actually matter. Oopsie, I've gone out there. Whatever's in that those square brackets doesn't actually matter. That can be blank and it would still pull up the file. And then I've got here period /assets /file name .mp3 close brackets. So I'm just going to bring this across here, and I'm going to go to Excel and I'm going to say paste that over there. I'm going to leave that empty so that I don't confuse myself. And then that's all in text, that's in quotation marks, and then and the file name, and then and close brackets. That's just the same as a concatenate function if you're looking at that and wondering what's going on. Okay, let's test this. There we go. This is looking good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to go to Notepad++ again, wherever that was. I'm going to create a new file, and then I'm going to save this. Desktop, there we go. So cosa.md over here, and if I open that file, you'll see there that I've got my cards in here. And I really hope this works, but I think it will. So I'm now going to copy this markdown file. So Control copy, and then I'm going to go to my Logseq file again. And just make sure it's recording still, it is. Then go to Pages, and I'm going to paste it here. So I'm going to go back to Logseq so that you can see what's happening. If I search here, So I could have just said Control K. I could go Kosa, and there's no page there. But if I now go and paste that file, which is text, into this my first database page, I now have a Kosa page there. And if I go to Logseq, it might come without me even refreshing it. So let me just say Kosa, and there we go. It's picked it up already. And there are my cards. So let's go to my space repetition practice, which is over here. And I'm going to add a new part of my dashboard. And let's use Markdown just for the fun of it. So there we go. We're actually Markdown level 2, Kosa. And then I'm going to say indent underneath that, / cards. And I'm going to say Kosa. Cool. So let's check. Let's review cards. Go well, guys. Hambani kakhle or hambani kukuhle.
Hambani kakuhle.
I'll give myself R for that. Okay, so that is how you can create your flashcards very easily using other programs. Now, some of those things you'll probably have to Google for Excel, like the shortcuts, whatever, because I didn't go into detail there. But I really just wanted to create a video to show you just how easy it is to use the text functionality of Logseq to create your flashcards, and yeah, hopefully not have to use Anki again, or Anki. I'd be very interested to hear what you thought about this format. I quite enjoyed it, and yeah, so there'll probably be more of that, because if I enjoy it, I do it more. Nonetheless, keen to hear what you thought.